everyone, this is Sarah, the Catholic Homemaker. Today I'm going to be talking about how I left social media. I left Facebook, Instagram, and also Twitter. And if you're new to my channel, welcome, and please consider subscribing so we can continue to grow this community. And also give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and hit the share button. That would really help me grow my channel. And also hit the notification so you know when I post, which is every Monday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. So first of all, I did something pretty radical this past week. I left all of my social media accounts that I've had for several years. Facebook I've had since pretty much the beginning. Instagram I only started, and same with Twitter. I started those just for my business with my blog and YouTube channel to just promote it because I thought that's just what you had to do. I couldn't really handle any more platforms because I know Snapchat was created after that, and I'm like, I can't handle another social media platform. And so my main reasoning behind doing this, and it was a really hard decision to make because I have been there, as I said, since almost the beginning with Facebook. And my main reason for doing this is because Facebook and Instagram changed their terms of service December 2020, December 20th, I think to be exact. And they just made their terms of service incredibly invasive. Of course, they have always been invasive, but this just crossed the line to the point where it just made me rethink everything because I watched JP Sears' video, and he's not the first one I heard it from, but he did kind of a parody on it, but being serious at the same time. So I recommend that video if you guys haven't seen it. And it's really disturbing if you think about it because these companies, they just have so much power. They're like monopolies, and they really should not be allowed to be doing this. It's really crossing the line with people's privacy. And like, even if somebody has nothing to hide, it's just not something that all these companies should know, or even the government. People have a right to privacy. That is what I believe, and that's part of the American spirit, I think. So that was my main reasoning for leaving, because apparently if you continued to use the apps, or even if you accessed it on your computer, they would have complete access to your phone, your computer, anything on it, text messages, photos, just anything on there. And they can actually see how you are reacting to certain things when you're looking at things on the app, and yeah, just things like that. And I'm just like, I don't want them to have access to that. And at first it just seemed like, am I willing to leave? Like, I've had this for so long. And one of my arguments for it was that I had two of my business pages on Facebook. I had the one for singing on there, Sarah Ruiz Soloist, and I also had my Catholic Homemaker page on Facebook. And then on Instagram, I just simply had a page for my Catholic Homemaker account. And I really loved Instagram, especially because I think it did help me to drive traffic to YouTube and to my blog. And it's unfortunate in that sense, but I do think it's an overall blessing because I am having more free time than I had before. It's easy to get very sucked into social media if you're not putting time caps on it, or if you're not being very strict about your usage. And I wasn't necessarily doing that all the time. And I think because of that, I have more free time where I can direct that attention towards my children and even other things. I think because I do not have to spend the time on those apps anymore, I could even direct it more towards my business itself, towards making more YouTube videos, or spending more time on my blog, sending out newsletters. I plan on doing all three of those things. In fact, I sent out a newsletter with my blog the first time in a long time last week just because of this. I just wanted to keep in touch that way at least. And I'm hoping to also get in a groove of posting more on my blog. It's just, I gotta say, it's very difficult with 2 little girls. I try to give as much attention as I can to them, as much as they need, but they need a lot, obviously, at a young age. So it's hard to do that, especially if I don't hire somebody to help me, if I'm just completely doing it on my own and having to manage my household things, cleaning and cooking for my family, just everything that I do. It's very hard to balance all these things, and especially since I'm not like truly making an income yet on my blog or YouTube channel. I hope to eventually, but yeah, at the time I'm not, so it's not a full-time business for me. But one thing I will say, I've been very consistent about posting once a week with YouTube for the past 1.5 years. I think by June this year it'll be 2 years. So I'm very happy about staying consistent with that. I'm hoping to start doing the same with my blog and my newsletter, at least being consistent with all 3 of those things. So I hope to make that commitment to you all. And I was sorry in that sense to leave social media, to not have that connection, but I am grateful for it ultimately, because I think that it really is a huge time suck. And I'm sharing this with you all because I'm wondering if maybe you might need the push to do the same thing, to spend more time with your family, your children, whatever, or maybe focusing on an area that you haven't been able to focus because of all the time you might be spending on social media. And so I think it's good. I think I'm happier because of it, because I know I watched the Social Dilemma documentary on Netflix recently, and some of these people were former employees of these social media companies, and they were talking about they weren't necessarily sinister in what they were trying to create, but they were trying to create something good, but it had negative effects ultimately, like not 100% negative. There are positives and there's also negatives, but like overall, has it really made people's lives better or better quality? So I think ultimately I'm very grateful for doing so, and I think you all might want to consider doing the same thing, just for whatever reason. But it was ultimately, it was just way too invasive of my privacy, my family's privacy, to continue on with that. And I downloaded all of my photos off of Facebook and Instagram. There's a way to do both. So if I ever need my business photos for any reason, I have access to them, even if I didn't save them before. So that's really nice that I was able to mass download them and mass download my personal photos. And it was really convenient. If you all were wondering, it's actually a very quick and easy process to do so if you look it up. And yeah, I think we all might want to try something like that, just to either leave social media completely or go to a different platform, because I just think these companies have way too much power, and they really shouldn't, because that's going to start, in some ways they've influenced people and governments and things, and I just don't think it's good for one company to have so much power over all of us and so much influence and manipulation ultimately. So I recommend watching that documentary, The Social Dilemma. I will link to it below. And I hope you all found this helpful. I would love to hear what you think in the comments, or what you're thinking of doing yourselves, if you're thinking of moving to different platforms, or if you're trying to get off completely. Hopefully this video encouraged you in that sense. Until next time, bye, and may God bless you and your family.